We've got 76 bush and grass fires burning across the state, 20 of those not yet contained. But clearly our focus is on those fires on the Central Coast as that southerly change makes its way up the coast. There is a potential for that fire now to travel to the north, and we have crews in place to protect homes should that occur.
We're expecting easier conditions or conditions to ease today. Temperatures, strong winds, of course. Yesterday had made it quite a challenge for firefighters. We're expecting some thunderstorms today. How will that play into the firefighting?
Look, as I said, that wind is now from the south, so that could potentially move the fire to the north, which has its own issues. But as you said, we've got more moderate conditions today, a lot less heat. We do have strong winds and the chance of thunderstorms. So firefighters are continuing to work right across the state on all of these fires, not just in the Central Coast, but also in the Upper Hunter, where we have a fire burning up there, which is quite a large fire, about 11,000 hectares as we speak.
Could you give us an idea of the kind of terrain that your firefighters are facing right now?
Yeah, the Koolewong fire was certainly very hilly. That terrain made access very difficult, but firefighters did a fantastic job, albeit we did lose some 12 or so homes. They were supported by aircraft, including the RFS Chinook helicopter, the large air tanker. So they worked throughout the afternoon and right through the night to protect those homes. But we're not out of the woods yet. We've still got that southerly change coming through, and that's where our focus continues to be this morning.
As you said, 12 homes there destroyed. Are you expecting more property to be damaged in days to come?
Potentially. We have damage assessment teams that are in there this morning, so they will continue to do those assessments and validate those numbers. But clearly we have property loss at the Koolewong fire. We also have fire investigators going in there from New South Wales Police and the RFS to determine the cause of that fire as well. So those works are occurring this morning, but clearly our focus continues on that active firefighting operation.
Some of our reporters yesterday were talking to us about power lines being down because of the blaze. Do you have an update on that? Has power been restored?
Look, there is still some power outages out in that area. We also have some local road closures. So RFS is continuing to work with those energy providers and the local council to ensure those services are restored. Thankfully, we don't have any reports of any injury or persons are accounted for. So despite that property loss, that was good news overnight.
Ben, earlier we heard from some people who had to just grab whatever they could and then run out of their houses as soon as possible. I understand something like 60 people are currently hunkering down in the Gosford evacuation centre. What's been the evacuation procedure like? Have most people adhered to it?
Most definitely. All those residents heeded the advice of firefighters and emergency services on the ground, and I think that's why we saw no reports of injury. So we're very thankful that residents heeded those warnings and got out of that area. There is an exclusion zone still in place, and we are asking people to remain clear of that area just so firefighters can continue to work uninterrupted throughout the morning.
Ben, you know, these fires, they're still ablaze at the moment. What's to come in days to come? I suppose. What sort of advice would you give to residents who may be watching this fire as it encroaches onto their property?
Thankfully, we have more favourable conditions over the coming days. We do see some warmer conditions on Tuesday, but hopefully not the winds that we saw yesterday. So over the next week or so, we do have favourable conditions, and we'll be taking every opportunity to get on top of these fires. But as we said for the last couple of weeks and months, we're now into summer. We need people to start preparing now. So things like, clearing their gutters, removing overhanging branches, mowing their lawns, but making sure that they have a bushfire survival plan, because as we saw, fires can happen anywhere, anytime, and we really need the community to be prepared as we head into summer proper.
The Premier said that something like 1,500 firefighters and 300 vehicles were deployed just in the last few days to fight these fires. How are the firefighters holding up?
Look, we've moved resources right across the state to ensure that we've been prepared and have that adequate support right across the state. As you said, we had over 1,000 firefighters deployed across New South Wales, 250 firefighters on that Koolewong fire alone. So they're supported by aircraft, heavy plant, and we are making sure that we have the right resources in the right place to deal with these fires.
All right, Ben Millington there, RFS Deputy Commissioner. Thanks very much for updating us on the situation on the ground there on Weekend Breakfast.